upstairs and my doorbell rung. And when I opened it, it was the same guys that were in my room. I'm sorry, like for part 3. Here's another toxic best friend story time. When I was in middle school, my Instagram page started to grow, and it was only because I used to post a lot of dance videos. My toxic best friend at the time, which we're calling Emily, noticed my page was starting to grow, and she had my Instagram page on her phone, and same thing with her. I had her Instagram page on my phone, but I would never go through her page. When it came to my page, she would notice that I would get a lot of DMs from random guys, sugar daddies, that type of thing. Those men that would pay you for your services, if you know what I mean. And this one day, she actually responded back to one of them. And I had no clue until later that day. She was sending naked pictures back, not of me, but random stuff she found on the internet. And one of the dudes she was actually talking to wanted to meet up. And guys, she gave him my address. By the time I checked my phone, they had a whole plan to link up. There's more to the story, like for part 2.
Here's a story time of how me and my sisters almost got kidnapped. So my mom and her boyfriend were just going to go out and have a night to themselves, and I was home watching my 2 little sisters. At the time, I was 13, my 2 little sisters were 9 and 6. So around 6 p.m., my mom and her boyfriend leave. Me and my sisters just sit down and watch a movie, and then I get up to make them dinner. I get paranoid really easily, and while I was making them dinner, I look out the kitchen window, and I thought I seen somebody in the backyard. I text my mom and she gets on the cameras that are outside and she said nobody was out there. I continue making them dinner, we sit down and eat, and then we start watching another movie. Then we start hearing knocking. It wasn't coming from any of the doors, it was coming from the side of the house. I didn't want to bother my mom on her one night out, so I just took the kids and we went upstairs and watched a movie in my room. My 6-year-old sister at the time went to the bathroom and she came back in literal tears. She was literally crying so hard until I finally got her to stop and tell me what was wrong. She said as she was walking back from the bathroom, she seen somebody downstairs. I quietly locked my door and I put my sisters in the closet and I called my mom right away. I'm running out of time, like for
Part 2 of my toxic best friend story time. Okay, so this might sound all confusing, but try and keep up with me, okay? So after the whole fight had happened, part of me just felt dumb because I didn't know what actually happened. And I didn't know exactly what was said. So almost 2 weeks went by and I saw Daisy outside. And one day I just went up and just straight up asked Daisy, what exactly did she say to me about Emily? She said the day her and Emily was hanging out, Emily was talking to her about our problems that we were having in our friendship. Daisy then said that Emily said to her, don't Ayana just annoy you? And she said she guessed so. But overall, Emily was just basically fishing for Daisy to say something bad about me. When in reality, Daisy wasn't paying me no mind. I then go to Emily and told her what Daisy had told me. She laughs and I'm just sitting here all confused. You're not going to even believe what she told me. She says, I was bored and the block was dry and that it was just a joke. At the time, I don't know why I let it slide, but now that I think of it, that's crazy how she was able to play with my emotions like a toy. And that's not a friend. So after we go back home and Micaiah tells me Valentina's dad asked to see her boobs, I was so in shock. But she tells me she didn't show him because she felt weird doing that. By the way, I forgot to mention at the time I was 10 and Micaiah was 12. She already started developing, if you know what I mean. After she tells me everything that happened, we agreed upon telling her mom. When we got to her house, we told her mom, and immediately she calls Micaiah's dad. Guys, when I tell her dad came to the house, she was ready to kill this man. Her dad was like the hood type, and he brought all his boys. They went to Valentina's house asking to see her dad. Valentina's mom answers, and she tells Micaiah's dad that he's not there, which was a lie. I'm guessing she could feel what was about to happen. He then went and told her what her dad had did, and her mom is so in disbelief, and she chooses not to believe him, saying he'd never do that. Micaiah's dad was so frustrated and just walked away. As soon as she closes the door, we all hear Valentina's dad say, what's going on? And when I tell you this man ran up, he ran back and kicked the door open. After we hear Valentina's dad, Micaiah's dad kicks the door open and he ran inside and just attacked Valentina's dad. It was honestly the most scariest thing I've seen because you could see in his eyes that he was just ready to kill that man. And maybe after a minute, they finally pulled Micaiah's dad off of Valentina's dad. And guys, her dad's face was just covered in blood. Almost felt bad for him, but then I was like, God's plan. Anyways, after the whole thing happened, Valentina's mom called the cops and Micaiah's dad was arrested for assault. But he wasn't in jail for long. Still to this day, he talks about how it was well worth it. And Valentina's father, he was just looked at as a sexual predator. And I never really thought about it until now, but I truly wonder how Valentina felt. Because after the whole situation, me and Micaiah never saw Valentina ever again. Not even on the streets. It was like she disappeared.
I'm having dinner with my sugar daddy when my boyfriend walks into the restaurant. By the way, my sugar daddy did not know I had a boyfriend. As soon as I see my boyfriend walk in, I tell my sugar daddy that I have to go to the bathroom. I literally bolted to the bathroom. As I'm in the bathroom stall freaking out, my boyfriend calls me. So I answer the phone and he says, "Hey, are you at the restaurant? I swear to God, I just saw you run into the bathroom. Who's that guy with you at the table?" I was caught. I had no option but to be honest with my boyfriend. I tell him to come to the bathroom and he comes in and I explain to him that it is my sugar daddy. Then he stares at me for a few seconds and asks me, "How much money does he give you?" I decided to lie and I said 3,000 instead of the 5,000. And my boyfriend says, "Wow." And I'm like, "Aren't you mad?" And he said, "No, you're just gonna have to share now." Excuse me? Then I told him I didn't want to be in the relationship any longer because he's a man-child and I had to pay for everything. Begged me not to leave him and he said that he would get a better job. We're still in the bathroom at this point and my sugar daddy's waiting for me outside. Then my boyfriend says, "If you don't want me to go out there and tell him that you have a boyfriend, you better start giving me some of that money." Story time about how this one girl bullied me so bad she tried to beat me up, but guess what? The joke was on her because my sister beat her up. I was in 8th grade and I was bullied pretty badly, but this one girl in particular who didn't like me would make my life miserable. This girl was in 10th grade and I was in 8th grade at the time. I didn't defend myself at the time. I was really just scared of everything and everyone because I got bullied so much. And my sister knew that, which is why she was always looking out for me. She always had my back. So the bully, let's call her Jackie. Jackie started leaving me mean notes in my locker. And at the time, I guess I didn't really know if it was her. It could have been many people since I got bullied by many people. And the kids in my class would group around me whenever I would go to open my locker just to see my reaction when I would read the mean things she left in the notes. So for example, she would make fun of my acne and my big lips. But it got so much worse. One day I was walking down the hallway and she comes up right behind me and spills fake blood all over my back, making it look like I had my period. I was mortified and she did this in front of everyone when we were on break. Then in front of everyone, she says that she's gonna beat me up at lunch and that I better be there, so come back for part 2. Story time about how I found out my girlfriend was cheating on me with my sister. Girlfriend and I have been together for 8 months, and when COVID hit, we decided to just quarantine together, and basically we moved in together. Oh, and yes, I am a girl. We got to know each other really well, and we really enjoyed the relationship. Well, my sister lost her job because of COVID, and she asked me if she could move in with my girlfriend and I. Of course, I said yes. She's my sister, and I totally have her back. So my sister moved into our guest bedroom. My sister also had a boyfriend. Let's call him Jason. Jason was so in love with my sister, he wanted to propose and even asked me to look at rings. Well, Jason proposed and my sister said no. Everyone was shocked. My sister didn't give a reason why she didn't want to marry him, but she was really depressed. So my girlfriend would talk to her and just try to be her friend and comfort her. And I was happy that my girlfriend was trying to help out my sister. Jason kept trying to get my sister back, but she kept saying no. Well, one day I wake up from a nap and I hear weird noises coming from my sister's bedroom. I swing the door open and guess what I see? My sister and my girlfriend naked on. I walk in on my girlfriend and my sister doing the dirty. They both jump off the bed and start getting dressed really quickly. I left the room and sat on the couch. I couldn't even speak. My sister comes out of the room and asked me to understand. She explained to me that my sister was so kind to her after her breakup that she couldn't help but falling in love. I couldn't believe she said love. I just started to cry. Then my girlfriend comes out of the room fully dressed and she swore that this was the first time they had ever even kissed. I didn't believe it for 1 second. My girlfriend was surprisingly really calm and it made me feel even worse. I started to get really angry, realizing that the whole time my sister was living there, they were probably hooking up and that's the reason why she didn't want to stay with her boyfriend or marry him. So I went into my sister's room, grabbed all her clothes and started throwing them out of our balcony. I even threw her laptop out the balcony. And we were on the 2nd floor. My sister was just chasing me around the apartment trying to stop me, but I would push her away. And I noticed my girlfriend is on her phone. I took the phone away from her and guess what she was looking at? Come back for part 3.